Welcome, everybody, to the second half, Fractured Orders, episode 5. Glad you all could be here. Let's waste no more time. Jump right into it and see what everybody's...
Just like, I think that's the only time someone said, don't come to school tomorrow.
That, as shitty as it is, that's just like every month in America, basically.
Oh, yep.
Like, we have some of the worst of everything. Like, if you go down a list of, what is good and what's bad, America has like all of the bad and like barely any of the good.
Security droids are moving in on us.
Like, ugh.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
So, all of the carnage that occurred left only a few standing members of either side.
And one reincarnated because hopeful person. Because that is
correct.
That is the way.
Correct. So, we are no longer in combat. Not a thing that is occurring anymore. No active combat, at least for a few moments. Because we know there was some threat spent on something that maybe needs to be addressed shortly. We'll see. We'll see if Kin. We'll see if Kin is in a state to even deal with that, considering he is literally almost dead.
So Kin will just literally sit down on the floor, and just say K1, and then at your service.
Jax is gonna reach to his thing, say, Mouse, I really need you here. Kin's pretty badly hurt.
Okay, I'm right outside the doors. Are they gonna let me come in? And you can see her on the other side of the door. She like waves and she like points at the aqua. Yeah, it's an aqualish.
I'm gonna go to the aqualish. I say, hey, like, me and my friend just helped you take down these guys, but my friend's hurt and I need my mechanic to get in here. Can she come in?
Yeah, and you see he kind of like looks around. And this security droid right over here, it comes up to you, and says, it kind of like motions with its blaster for you to like step back.
I'll step back a little bit, yeah.
And then it gives like a little nod to the Aqualish, who steps back, and Mouse comes like sprinting in, to get over to Kin. So, Kin, do you want Mouse to perform a mechanics check for first aid on you?
She always rolls triumph, so I highly recommend it.
Kin will just sit still. Just a scratch. I'll be fine.
I'll turn to Mouse and say, is there anything I can do to help?
Let's see. Is there anything you can do to help? She probably like points to where parts of Kin have come off on the ground, and is like, bring those over here. It might help me. We'll see if we can reattach some things.
I'm gonna walk around gathering parts.
Yeah. So you are at your threshold, which means that it is an average check. Luckily, it's just short of a hard check. It's gonna be an average check, but she's gonna get a boost dice because Jax is gonna help her out. Good luck, Kin.
Yeah.
So, Kin, you only
fucking good at mechanics.
You only recover two wounds.
Yeah.
But something that Mouse does to your subroutines, you can take off 5 strain.
Yeah.
Can they not use advantage to deal with the critical, or is that not how that works?
Well,
that's 2 separate checks.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure we would have time for it now. Or...
Hey, while Mouse is tinkering with Kin and all that, I'm gonna go check that Rodian's body for clues and stuff.
The security droids, before you even walk off, they say, "Don't move, stay there."
So, Kin is just gonna slap. What Mouse is doing is helping a bit, but he still has a huge gash on his head and on his upper torso. And I'm just gonna slap 2
repair patches.
Repair patches over it. Just
okay.
It kind of looks like big band-aids, right? Just round, and they look really awful, but they help. So that's 4. Heal 4 wounds.
Yep.
Jax leans up against the wall and kind of do something to try and recover any strain.
Yeah. So you can make a medicine check. It's going to be easy, and then any advantage you generate can be used to reduce the strain. Nope, not average. Easy check. Yeah, go ahead and roll.
See, good as new.
Nope, no strain recovery for you.
Uh-huh.
Probably because you're still kind of in this situation. Like these droids, and that's why I specified this. They're holding you captive. They're like standing there with their blasters pointing at you because they're trying to figure out what to do, and you can tell like they're kind of like looking at each other like, who are these people? What do we do with them?
All right, so then Jax will calm. Dash, the end. You guys okay?
Yeah, we're fine. Yeah.
So over here in the garage, this other Janus security droid comes up, and it looks at the two of you kind of huddled down over the mechanic's body, and he says, "Identify yourselves."
I look at Zayan and just, I don't know, I kind of like whisper, should we say our actual names or?
I don't know. It's up to you. I have to
Identify yourself.
He kind of like stand up and says, Dash Creel.
Yeah, and we see like the vision from the HUD of the, like it runs the name and, just gets generic basic information of like your structure. And it nods and then turns to you, Zian.
Just say Zian.
Yeah, and I think again we see it like evaluate, and then looks at the mechanic on the ground, kind of cocks his head to the side, and you can see like it begins talking, but it's like on speakerphone, right? And it says, "Boss, free for transport."
What? I stand up. Excuse me?
Yeah, and you can see like the Aqualish kind of cracks his knuckles a little bit when you stand up.
Listen, I may not be out of the ordinary, but you don't want to do that.
And I think that like the droid and the Aqualish look at each other, and the droid turns back to you and says, "Will you comply?"
I'm gonna gently set this guy down and kind of stand up and move up to the front and attempt to negotiate.
I'm gonna step aside as I see him
and explain our position, that we're helping out. We saw that this person might have information and we wanted to stabilize and possibly get information, and that we will guarantee his cooperation.
Okay. Yeah, and I think the negotiation part here is it looks at you and it says, "It does make more sense that all three of you will be questioned. Should your names be clear, you will be released. No harm will come to you. But go ahead and make a check here. It's gonna be hard, because he is a strict. It's a droid, right? You're negotiating with the droid. Also, I'm gonna spend this.
No, the dark side.
Since we've got a bunch of light, I'll just use a light side then to balance it back.
All right, so put that in here. Whenever you're ready.
The powers of the light and the dark fight against each other for this. Yay!
Okay. Yeah, so you succeed in the fact that he's not gonna take you two into questioning in this scenario. And I think he says, "Very well. You will not be transported. the boss will still speak with you.
Of course.
That is fine.
Cool. Yeah, and I think that they kind of like these two guys over here. They take up a position, kind of off at the front, just kind of like watching you, waiting for further orders.
So Dash turns it to Cyan and gives him a look as if kind of like inspecting him in sort of way.
Zian just kind of slumps down against the speeder and kind of like a sitting posture with his arms over his knees and just kind of like slouches, clearly frustrated and a lot weighing on his mind.
And Dash kind of like breaks his thing and kind of not really knowing how to approach this because he doesn't even know if what he saw is kind of like right. So that thing with the blaster, I've heard stories. Are you one of those?
We can talk about this later.
Cuts him off and he says, "Oh, okay, not gonna push you, just like you don't push me." He kind of like lifts up his hand and is like,
Wait. What the fuck was that?
"What do you mean? What?"
There's some red shit shooting out of one of the droids. What the fuck is going on?
Where?
It's in the darkness.
It's fine. Continue.
Okay.
No, what do you mean continue? Jax wants to know what just happened to him.
It was just scanning you. It's fine.
Okay.
It's a horrible droid virus.
Very off-putting.
Looks like blood.
Looks like it was painting me.
So the two of you, Dash and Zian, you're content to kind of just like wait
Yeah.
for the next opening here. Okay.
Yeah, Zian's gonna do whatever he can to stay with this unconscious medic or mechanic.
And Dash is with his friends I am.
So back over here with the three of you over here, the droids run through a very similar procedure with you. They ask for your identification. I assume you give it to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that the one over on this side here, he communicates and he goes, "Yes, boss. 3." And then you can hear like the noise that says, you know, were they combatants is probably what it says.
So Kid stands up. Just, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the droid probably looks at the three of them and says, "They appeared to be fighting these Zul'Zan. Would you like us to bring them in?" And I think there's like a long pause, and then a different voice comes on, not the voice you heard before, and it says, yes, bring them in."
What?
And I think it kind of Jax and Mouse, perhaps, because Kin, you're a droid and you're immune to emotional states. The voice is chilling. Kind of sends shivers down your spine.
It's
All right.
her.
I'll turn to the droids and be like, listen, all right, we saw that you guys were in trouble and we jumped in to help you, but you're gonna need to give me some answers before I go anywhere with you. Hashtag no offense.
Yeah, and I think that the droid kind of like looks and says,
Hashtag no interrogation.
"What do you wish to know?"
Where are you taking us?
And I think it says, "To a holding area, Janus Casino.
What for?
Questioning. You will not be harmed.
Why can't you question us here?
Unsafe area. Protocol dictates you come with us."
Are we prisoners?
No,
Am I being detained?
no, but resistance will be met with resistance. Will you comply?
I turn to Mouse and Ken and like raise an eyebrow. See what their reactions to this are.
Ken will just nod his head slightly.
No one knows if that's the punch them in the face word or the let's go with them word, but we'll find out, I'm sure. Mouse doesn't like the idea of being taken somewhere and put in holding somewhere. So she probably kind of like is hiding behind Kin a little bit. And I think she just says like very quietly, she's just like, "Oh, we don't want any trouble."
I don't think we should start a new fight.
Jax is torn because he has no interest in going with these droids, but he also doesn't want to start a ruckus with Mouse there and Kin damaged. He also doesn't like the fact that he feels like he's making a decision for them. He doesn't like being put in that position.
Where's Zan when you need him? He's with Dash.
Okay, actually, thank you, Endless. Okay, I'm gonna tell you. We came here with two other friends. Have you heard? Like, do you know who they are? I give a rough description of Dash and Zien.
I think that the other droid now, the one with the green dot here, he probably speaks up at this point. He goes, 3 others are being held at the garage. And then like probably like gives you what they're wearing, and you recognize like Dash and Zien.
Can you take us to them? Those are our friends.
Yeah, and I think there's a moment of calculation, and then they nod and they say yes, and they begin to lead the way with their Aquilish friend here.
I'll wait for like Mouse and Kin to go, and I'll follow behind them.
God damn it! That YouTuber moment just killed me. I had to say it.
Kin, are you moving with them?
Yeah.
That's so well.
They bring you over here. They kind of like direct you into the garage. And you can see like these guys are now all like having conversation outside the garage. But they allow you to enter to go to your friends. And they're kind of giving you space as long as you're, complicit in this scenario.
And just so we're aware, there's 2 droids and 2 Aquilish.
There's 3 droids and 2 Aquilish.
Oh yeah, that little blue dotted blank that just showed up.
Yeah, he was standing on top of the other.
Okay, so we walk in here, and I kind of look to the other and go, "What happened here?"
I turn to the thing you would see is Dash kind of like turning, and as Ian said, he was saying, well, we I guess found someone.
Who?
He kind of like points to the mechanic that's lying against the computer terminal, kind of like out cold.
Can Jax tell that this mechanic was part of the organization we were just fighting?
They don't wear uniforms, but I mean, there's a bunch of battle droids all dismantled and blown up over here. Maybe he's a civilian. He looks like he works inside this garage, if that's any help.
And does Jax recognize that this is the speeder that RK was driving?
Yes, that is something you guys do know.
Alright, I'd be like, okay, guys, like, who is this guy? He must have been involved. It looks like he has the same droids that we were fighting, that we saw fighting Janice over in the other building. They're being led by a Rhodian, but Kin and I took care of him.
He may have information that we are seeking.
All right.
Well, we didn't really ask him. He was kind of shot, but Cyan helped him.
I turned to Zion. I go, "You shot someone?"
No, no. I said like he was shot, but Cyan helped him.
Who shot him?
One of the droids.
Motion
The droids
to
over
the-
there, or the
The
Janus?
security droids.
Janus droids.
All right.
He seemed to have also been working with the droids. He was repairing them and all with those bandage type things. So, maybe he's with them, but I don't know. I mean, the only lead he has is about the limo. I don't know if he knows anything more than RK picking up the Lambo, this limousine speeder. And I say RK because I know that if they hear RK, that's a red light for what was their name?
Janus.
Janice. I say RK kind of like silently. Technically, the thing is like I don't know if they would have seen RK in my vest. Oh.
No, you're wearing like a Commonwealth vest, right?
It has 3 names. One of them is RK.
I was not aware of that, but probably not.
No, I kind of am. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I wrote it in my character sheet. So,
Yeah, no, probably
So
not
I
if they
guess
haven't
they
addressed
didn't.
you about it yet.
like, but as I said, the only thing we know is that's
Jax is just sitting on the speeder, chilling like a villain.
Sounds good.
Looks like his comfortable place to sit is anywhere.
okay. So, we're kind of off the hook. What about you guys?
We helped. We took care of the Rhodian.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, because they tried to detain us. Are they trying to detain you too?
I'm thinking that when Dash, I'm not sure if he looked over to Kin, but if he sees him now, he sees he's kind of split in half, held together with repair patches.
Yeah.
He looks like shit, but he's still, fit to fight.
He's got a pirate eye patch, repair patch right now.
Yeah.
I kind of noticed that, and like, oh, damn, you must have had it worse than us.
I don't think we should start a new fight.
We're not sorry. I just asked, are they trying to detain you too?
They want to bring us in for question.
Well, Diane told them that we weren't involved, so they only need us to talk to their bosses. Dash, it says with quotation marks.
But where are their bosses?
I have no idea. They're probably going to call them to come here with I guess, expensive limo or something. I don't know how Janus work.
I got the distinct impression they were going to bring us to their bosses, not the other way around.
Correct.
Well,
Am
either
I
way,
being detained?
either way, I managed to convince them that we are not the enemy, and so we are not going to be detained, questioning, merely invited with a heavy dose of force on that invitation, though.
Jax will make like a snorting sound, be like, "Oh, well, then that's all okay then."
Sometimes that makes all the difference.
I'll just shoot Sienna. Look like I think you're a crazy old fool.
I mean,
Are you old?
I'm sure we could
Yeah, he's like 40 or
blast
something.
our way out,
Alright.
but do we really want to? We helped Janus. Maybe we can get them to help us.
I mean, we didn't give them a reason, so technically.
Our goals align with Janus, and by helping them out, we can maybe get RK off the hook.
Well, that's what we're trying to strive to, right? He kind of looks at the group and is still hoping that they're still actually interested in helping me because they were caught in the crossfire as well as me, and I don't know if anyone would be fine with being caught in crossfire for his friends, unless they're very loyal.
Yeah. So Zian, this mechanic guy, he appears to be kind of coming to at this point.
All right, I kind of go over to his side, and like, careful, and I start trying to talk to him.
Yeah, and I think he does the like hand to head and like winces in pain as his side is kind of bandaged up, where he got shot. And he's like, "Oh, my head. What is going on? Who are you people? What do you want?"
We are not your enemies.
Yes, well, you could have fooled me.
I made no aggressive actions towards you.
Dash said, and I kind of try to help you, so I think I may be questionable at this point. Dash jokes.
Like, Zion asks,
hearing that, Jax goes, "Wait, you tried to help the guy with the robots?"
He kind of shoots him a look and
Now's not
so
the
everyone can't hear it.
yeah, now's not the time. Look,
Yeah.
I
You
ask
guys
him.
walked to the door. Fuck you.
I ask him what causes someone with his talents to be working for an organization like this.
yeah, and he's still kind of like out of it, kind of woozy, and he kind of like he blinks his eyes a few times and he looks around and his eyes fall on like the destroyed droids, and you see he's trying to like he was basically dead, right? So he's kind of like piecing it back together a little bit, and he looks around and he goes, "Wait, you are the one with you have a gift."
I just kind of fix him with a stare.
Yes.
It's like,
Yes, I remember now. Yours powerful. More powerful than mine. And he kind of like fades in and out of consciousness a little bit when he says that.
Let me train you.
is there any way I can like try and keep him awake through
Yeah.
sort of healing?
He's not like passing out. I'm just like narratively describing how he
Gotcha.
is right now. But yeah, you can continue the conversation with him.
Yeah. Again, what causes someone with your gift to work for types of people?
I think he kind of like chuckles. And maybe like a little bit of blood that like maybe he bit his lip when he fell or whatever, like kind of trickles out of his mouth, and he's like, "Oh, but you are naive. The world does not. Well, the galaxy does not wait for those of us that are gifted come into our own. Sometimes we need to eat."
I can help you.
Am I dead? Is this actually happening?
You are not dead.
Good. And his eyes kind of like glance to the rest of the party. He recognizes you, Dash, but he sees the other three as well. And he looks at Kin and going to do something. Yeah. So, Kin, you feel the faintest. So you're a mechanical being, and so you have sensors. Like you see the world through sensors, right? You don't see the world through biological means like the rest of the group does. So you feel like your servos inside of your body, some of them begin to spin up and spin down faster or slower than they were before, and not at your behest. It's almost as if somebody is not controlling you, but like kind of testing out your abilities, and you feel like you hear like a whirring, like your eyes probably focus and unfocus for no reason.
Yeah.
And Xian, you feel like he kind of just like looks, and he's like doing something to Kin.
Can
Yeah, I'll just extend a hand towards Mouse. Feel like something's wrong.
Yeah, Mouse kind of like grabs onto it, but looks scared at the same time because she's like, nothing's ever wrong for you, Kin. And it kind of fades away as it passes, but he kind of like leans back and he's exerted himself a little bit more. You can see like he kind of releases an effort breath, and he says, "You have a good droid, strong stock."
It's like I ask him, what did you do?
Yeah, and he just goes, "I have always had a way with droids. I can understand them better. It's not influential like your gift is, but it allows me to do my job well."
And you said the Force doesn't affect droids.
No, I said they don't exist within
Yeah.
the Force.
You can affect mechanical things, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I was like,
Well, I'll ask him, like, if I could. Would you be interested in starting over?
He kind of like looks and he's very confused, and I don't think he knows how to answer that question because he's not sure what that means. But he kind of like just like frowns and he says, "I'm alive. Eventually I will make it back to my home. The Zul'Zan, they will come find me at some point, I'm sure. Or I am to die. Those are the two choices.
There's always another choice.
Maybe for those
Each of
who
us
are..."
is responsible for our own destiny.
Yeah, and I think he kind of looks at you and he says, "Maybe for those who are privileged, but for those of us who must make a living, fend for ourselves, we have no such thing. Choices are very black and white."
And Xian's like, that's complete bullshit, and you're wrong.
Yeah.
and Dash speaks up and
Or Bontha Poodoo, because that's how they like to call it, even though...
Yeah,
Poodoo is
does that, like, but I have to ask, like, you can tell that, like, he's affected by, his status as a human, right? Like,
right.
It's not a semblance of the Force, really, how you understand it.
Right. And Xian understands that because he's lived on like poor farming worlds for like 5 years.
Right.
So he's really trying to get through to him that there's always another way, and that he has another option for him if he wants to take it.
Jax has been like investigating the battle droids, but when he hears the guy say that, he looks and goes, "What was that organization you just mentioned?"
Yeah, and I think he kind of looks over and squints because you're like at a distance, and he's like, "Zul'Zan, surely you know who you're fighting, or don't tell me they convince you to fight without telling you."
No one convinced us to fight. We came here investigating this speeder, and we saw a fight break loose, and we picked a side. Who are Zul'Zan, or whatever they're called.
I think he kind of like laughs and like winces again, and he's like, "Oh, well, at least you have company, your naivety." And I think that at that moment too, you hear the droids. They begin saying something outside, and suddenly the garage begins to rumble. The walls are shaking, and you feel like you see like dust falling from the ceiling, right? And you hear the sound of a starship fly by and begin to hover overhead. And you see the droids kind of like, they're like looking up. And you see the Aqualift looking up as well. And suddenly...
Suddenly...
Yeah, no. Hold on.
Oh!
Oh!
This whole area becomes covered in blaster fire. From whatever the starship is, you can tell. It's just... and like big craters are being formed here, and the whole garage is shaking, and smoke is like dumping in, and I think that in this moment you all are blinded by the smoke as it pours in to the garage.
Arcade, if this is you, I fucking swear.
And so yeah, you guys are like huddled down, you're coughing.
Wait, stop for a sec. I have some goggles.
Yeah, you can put them on.
Yeah, I think they give me like vision in like low light and stuff like that. I don't know if they would help in this situation.
They certainly might.
All right, well I put on my what do they call them? Well, they got a name. They're a thing. I have.
Do you have them on your character sheet?
Yeah, I do. Scanner goggles.
Okay. And what do those
Has
do?
vision through the blend of simpler than electro binocular scanner goggles, enhance vision through the blend of light amplification and thermal imaging. They are common in illegal and combat situations. It do not require extra effort or hands for their operation. Allow the user to see normally in dark conditions.
Okay. All right. So it's not gonna be perfectly effective because this is mostly the like obscurity. It's not really darkness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that as you put on your goggles and like, you know, everybody's like coughing, Kin, you're probably trying to like dilate your pupils through the haze and the smoky and all that other fun stuff. Yeah. You hear some like clink 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 clink. And Jax, let me I'll enhance your vision slightly here. Probably have some enhanced vision.
Oh yeah, check that out. I can see a bit more. So I just want to see if any of these droids have dropped weapons, like it sounded like
blaster rifles. So there's blaster rifles there on the ground for sure.
So I'm gonna like sling 2 of them over my shoulder and like keep 1 in my hands.
Okay.
Just so that will be a different skill than what you're using for a pistol.
Yeah, I know. This is more of to give to other people if we end up in a tricky situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you hear some clanking coming from outside, and the dust begins to settle a bit. And as it begins settling, you hear a voice, kind of calling out from outside. And it sounds like a woman's voice, and says, Jor-El, are you still in there? Are you okay? And you see the guy who's like kind of leaning back. He kind of like looks up and he says, they have found me sooner than I thought. And as the dust begins to settle, let me grab the correct token here, so you guys actually know who you're dealing with or what you're dealing with. Oh come on, Zoom. So you actually see not a human.
Huh?
But you see a Weequay standing outside. And still has the white box. That's totally okay. So you see a Weequay standing outside, and at her side you see an Aqualish kind of mercenary. But flanked behind them is no shortage of battle droids.
Holy!
Oh shit!
Oh!
So you remember that there was a call for help earlier. Well, these guys wish to remain here. That call for help has been answered. And you can see the Aqualish. He begins ordering more droids to kind of go check everything else out. And the
more droids or
droids off that you can't see.
All right.
These 3 squadrons are standing here in front of you, and they're all kind of like they have their guns at the low ready, kind of in your direction. And the Weequay, with no fear, enters in, and she says, "Who all of you?"
So, what did she say?
She says, "Who are all of you?"
There was a fight broke out, and our friends here are looking after this mechanic, and Janice were going to take us away for questioning, but then, before they could, this happened. Who are you?
Yeah, and I think she just kind of looks at you impassively. And she says, "Dorel, come here." And you can see he goes to stand, Zian.
I've kind of got my hand on his shoulder.
Like keeping him down?
Not keeping him down, but just like, remember, there's always another option.
Yeah. And I think he kind of like looks at you and he just like shakes his head and smiles. And he begins to kind of like limp out in this direction. And when he gets over here, she kind of like takes him and she embraces him in like a warm hug. And she says, "Oh, thank the stars you're all right. I was afraid that we might have lost you. We got the signal from Prague. Have you seen him? Is he all right?" And he says,
"Can I say something?"
Well, Jarrell says, "Well, I believe those 3 said that they dealt with a Rhodian, and only assumed that it was Prague." Yeah, and she kind of like looks at you, and she says, "Very well, we'll take them in for questioning."
Oh, fuck off!
And as she steps out, with Jarrell, Jarrell says, "Also be aware, they're armed." She just nods and she looks at the Aqualish here, and she says, "Very well, take their weapons." And he walks in to begin taking the weapons.
Okay, I want to make a check to hide my blaster pistol.
In your prison wallet?
No, because I have my smuggler's trench coat. Unless they're going to take our clothes as well.
They're not. Okay.
Checks to find anything hidden within smuggler's trench coats are opposed by the skullduggery of the wearer. The coat can conceal up to 2 encumbrance worth of items. My pistol. So, my pistol has an encumbrance of 1, so that's fine. And I want to try and get a boost dice as well by being very openly with giving him the rifles and also the other pistol that I had picked up in my funky maneuver earlier.
Okay.
So like I appear like I'm disarming, but I just don't mention the one that's hidden in my jacket.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this scenario, just letting you guys know, this is Zul'Zan. They've arrived to recover their losses here. And Janice were not prepared for them, obviously, because they weren't aware that there were reinforcements on the way. They thought everything was fine. And they have every intention of taking you into custody and questioning you about the incident that occurred. And then, perhaps releasing you if everything is okay after that. Just so you all are aware of how this is going down. Obviously, if you guys want to shoot your way out, I'm totally okay with that.
I have a crazy idea that just might work.
Also, crazy ideas are okay, but in this particular moment, any action viewed as hostile will result in probably more stun damage than your strain thresholds can take.
Try jumping the speeder.
How many seater is that speeder?
It's probably a 5-seater speeder.
Oh, it is on. I want to try. I want to hardwire and just bolt for it and just fucking run this guy over.
You know that they will
Jax
shoot
is
you
not-
the second you
Jax-
go to get in there, right?
Jax is not getting anywhere near that speeder.
I'm going
Sounds like
closer to
a
Miles.
bad idea.
I kind of want to stealthily just like shuffle towards it, please. Can I stealthily shuffle towards it?
Yeah, sure. The Oculus comes over here and Jax, you hand him a bunch of weapons.
I hand over the 3 rifles and the pistol.
Okay. He's going to do a check to see if he can identify the hidden stuff, but it's not really that big a deal. So that's going to be perception. Coming. A 1. No, a 1. Not a... Okay, and what's the?
I'm actually going to use a light side point as well.
Sure.
Just because if someone tries to take Jax's gun, Jax is not going to. Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
Okay. Alright, so he gets an upgrade to the difficulty of the roll. It's going to be average. And what's the ability from the vest again?
That if to find anything hidden within it, it gets a check against my skullduggery.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
which
what's your
is 1
skullduggery?
1 yellow and 2 greens. So with the upgrade, it's 2 yellows and 1 green.
Okay, cool.
So 2 reds, 1.
Yeah, 2 reds, 1 purple. All right. Perception.
He's really good at finding stuff.
Yeah. He's really good at finding stuff. So I think that like you hand it to him and you give him like a big smile, and then he motions for you to raise your arms. So you do. You're like, yeah, okay, sure. And he like pats you down and then just like immediately reaches in. And you think it's probably because he knows that he knows the tricks. And you see like he just kind of like reaches in and he just shakes his head.
So what do you do, Jax?
I'm gonna speak to the weak way woman.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, listen, I'm happy to go with you. I mean you no harm, but I'll take the power pack out of my blaster, but this blaster stays with me. It means too much to me. I don't want any trouble, but I'm really sorry. This is the way it is.
So she kind of just like she turns back and she kind of just like raises an eyebrow at you. It'll be a check here. It's a negotiate.
Can I attempt while he's doing that to maybe influence her?
Sure, absolutely you can. I'm waiting for
what happens with all the threat? Does that not?
Waiting for the influence. Well, he's gonna take some strain because of it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the influence. Do you want to go ahead and try and use influence?
I'm just I don't think I'm gonna do the discipline versus discipline thing. I just want to make her more friendly towards us.
Okay,
So we'll
sure.
see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Dark side.
What emotion?
I don't think I can use a dark emotion to get this to go.
Isn't envy a dark emotion?
Stress, maybe.
Yes, but wouldn't. I don't see how envy would help.
Bad. Yeah, my bad. Wrong emotion.
Well, I mean, like you could use envy, but it might change the outcome of the roll here.
Right. And I'm trying to just go down like dark stuff. Like greed isn't really gonna help.
Nope.
Hatred isn't gonna help. Fear, maybe, but could be really bad outcomes of that.
Yeah, fear could be
Rage
just
isn't
kill
gonna
him
help.
instead.
You're right. I don't think there's any. If anybody has a suggestion for a negative emotion that might help, I'm all for it. But I just can't think of anything that would
I
help.
can't think of one either.
No.
Yeah, it's
The only
pretty
thing
hard.
that I can think of negative that's probably gonna happen is me trying to stealth.
Or I guess neutral would work too.
Yeah, what's a neutral emotion here? Like,
Yeah. The
Whatever.
example for neutral is like confusion. Maybe apathy?
Maybe a neutral emotion could be.
I would say
She's
apathy
not-
could work here. If you want to use the dark side point, apathy could certainly work here.
Yeah, I
I
think
accidentally rolled that. I'm sorry.
yeah, I think we're gonna go with apathy. Like,
I'm not
yeah,
taking it
whatever, he can keep his blaster is kind of the
Right.
intent that I'm
Okay.
going with.
Yeah.
So
I
let's-
think that's fine.
let's
I definitely
tack on some
definitely-
conflict.
Yeah. You've been banking on the you. It's funny that you are here lecturing this guy about using the dark side when you have used more dark side than he has all game. So
I'm not taking that.
that's definitely a boost dice on the roll here on the negotiate roll. So it's gonna be a hard check. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and roll it like that?
Negotiation.
Yeah, it's definitely a negotiate. Oof.
No go.
Womp womp.
So I think that she says, "Listen, I don't care what kind of," and this is the apathy, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't care what kind of attachment you have to your blaster. It goes or you go. If you'd like, we can tie you up. But don't worry, we won't harm any of your equipment. That you all care for everything very much. But you have to understand the situation here. A lot of our men have been reported missing in action. Some I assume to be dead. That cannot go lightly. And she just kind of like waves for the Oculus to keep your blaster.
Can I attempt the thing? I'm not counting that. That was a misclick.
Yeah, hold on. Waiting for Jax.
Sorry.
Alright,
Again, I will restate, these droids are prepared.
Yeah.
I know.
Jax looks over at the others, particularly at Kin, who's still pretty beaten up, and very begrudgingly, and I'm gonna suffer 2 strain for doing it. I think I give up my blaster.
Okay. Yeah, he takes it, and you know, he takes it, and Oculus just kind of nods at you, and doesn't appear to ever speak to you. Just kind of nods and like sets it and like puts it in a bag with all the rest of the stuff, and then continues on. So Dash, you want to attempt to stealthily get into?
Just out of curiosity, just so I'm aware. What about the grapple launcher? Have they taken that as well?
Probably yes. I would say
Alright,
yes. So you want to attempt to stealth here, Dash. Now I'm going.
Yeah, I
to,
kind of creep towards the door.
yeah.
This is gonna
So
be
it's
bad.
gonna be a daunting check. I'm also upgrading it for free because there's a potential for very bad things to happen, and I'm gonna use a dark side point.
I'm gonna use a light side point. I'm taking all the chances.
Don't do it.
Roll a stealth check when you're ready.
Can people get an option to stand clear? Jax is gonna stand in this corner, as far
I
away
don't know
from
what
this.
he's doing.
Hmm.
We have no reason to
Hmm.
suspect that Dash is gonna do this.
No, but my gun has just been taken, and I'm sulking.
Oof, I don't know what to do here.
It's up to you. I'll always let you roll for it.
What is
See, you're
daunting?
tempting me
4
here.
dice.
Yeah,
So
daunting
you're looking
is
at 2
4 dice.
purple, 2 red.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm not trying shit. There's too much here.
Okay.
I stand in my place.
So maybe it's like that moment where like Jax is like, okay, fine, you know, it's okay, and kind of like backs off. That's probably the moment, Dash, you were like, maybe I shouldn't do that. So the Oculus comes up and goes to take the rest of your stuff. Comes up to you next, Zian,
And I'm like, I have no weapons.
and just kind of like motions for you to raise your arms.
I'm gonna